We are the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network. And this is our news recap show. I am the host. You can call me the captain. And basically what I want to go over here is the Christopher Dorner stuff. Now this is going to be some groundbreaking stuff. I'm not going to be breaking any news here, but I'm going to be showing people or shedding light upon what is behind all this. Why? What does this have to do with the New World Order? Because it does. It's a big distraction that they've used to do stuff behind the scenes that we're too busy worried about Christopher Dorner to even understand yet. But I guarantee you, out in the aftermath, we'll be like, now we know why this was such a big deal. Now, do I believe it's staged? No. It's hard to tell. It could be staged. Is the coverage being used to manipulate? Of course. Of course the coverage is being used to manipulate. But it could or could not be staged. Now, a number of things related to what's going on could be staged. In fact, who knows? But here's the facts of the matter. People may not understand that the New World Order doesn't, they're compartmentalized, and I'm actually going to go over an in-depth analysis of what that really means eventually in a later segment. But what's going on is, just like Hurricane Katrina, it was a real event, a real hurricane crashed into a city. Now we can argue if it was HAARP or not, but a hurricane just crashed into a city, and they used the catastrophe to test out the police. They were going to say, okay, let's see if we can get the police to do gun confiscations. We've trained them for it. We've wanted to do it. Let's see if we can actually get them to do it. And they used it as a test to see what would the police do, how would the police handle such orders. And they actually did go through with what they wanted to do. Now, you got to look at this as a test. It's not for us as the public to deceive us or manipulate us, although they're using it to sort of divide and conquer us over various numbers of issues. They're even starting to divide the Liberty movement a little by getting people to be like, oh, it's a staged event. No, it's not a staged event. Oh, we're fighting amongst each other and we're doing exactly what they want. You know, it's being used to do that. But it's also being used to test the police, to see, okay, let's say, we know their plan. They want to turn the country into a civil unrest war scenario where Liberty people are struggling to get by and fighting to survive. Well, here's the test. He's not a Liberty person, so they're not going to try and use that to demonize the Liberty movement yet. He's, one of their supporters. But, it is the guy that's upset with the system who goes out and says, I'm going to start a war against the system. It's the lone guy starting a war against the system. And they're seeing how will the police react to that. What will the police do if the civil war starts, if the people start getting uppity? Now people say, oh, look how scared they are, they're freaking out. That's what Alex Jones says a lot. Look at the cops, they're really scared. Imagine what it'll be like if more people rise up. Well, really, the cops did exactly what the New World Order wanted them to do. They got crazy and really paranoid, and they started shooting at people. They started just randomly shooting at people in an attempt to maybe upset the people so that they'll all start joining with Christopher Dorner. It's like, well, let's see what happens when we do the pushback. And, they did the pushback, and nobody seemed to care. Everyone's like, oh, okay, but Christopher Dorner, yay, we got to get him, and it doesn't matter if anyone gets hurt in the process. The cops are doing exactly what the New World Order wants in the event that a patriot rises up and tries to do it. And the patriot movement is totally against that. The Liberty movement, whatever you want to call it, the truth movement, all of us who are against the New World Order. None of us are for the violent outcome. That's why we do what we do, to prevent what we know they want to do. We know they wanted to revert the world into a climactic event, ultimately a world war and a civil war on all nations. Not only a big global war that they can use to keep their loyal people dependent upon them, but also civil wars within every country that breaks down the societies so that they can in turn, at the end of the war, come out and say, we can save everyone. And then everyone just bows down and says, save us, save us. That's what this is. It's a test for the police. How will the police react? What will they do? How can we spin this? Can we control the media coverage of an uprising? Will the police respond to an uprising the way we want them to respond to an uprising? And again, that's why they use a police officer, a crazed police officer, because that's who will be upset the most. Police officers and army people are going to be the first to really get upset and start saying, if anyone in the Liberty movement goes violent. And this isn't, most of them are purely peaceful, and really, if it does turn violent, it's going to be a staged event probably. but they're the people that they know will be the leaders of a resistance movement if it ever gets to that. Now, we don't want it to get to that, but the way they're pushing it, they're going to stage something and try their best to force it into a civil unrest scenario. So that's the deal with Christopher Dorner. Now, this is groundbreaking. No one else I have seen has come up with this understanding of it. Now, I'm going to do a time check here. And I'm going to get into, I went over the last segment a lot of, theories, or they're not really theories. There is the documentation for it, but I didn't gather the documentation. And I'm probably, I said I might, but I'm probably not going to because I got so much going on. But I do always encourage people to go check it out for yourself. So I went over, my understanding of how they were going to pull out a credit system that would control economies. And then I went over the, what's going on in the New World Order's mindset when it comes to this Christopher Dorner stuff. It's a test for their loyal people. Can our loyal people remain loyal to us even if some of them become crazed psychopaths? Will they maintain their loyalty to the system? And it goes for the police, it goes for loyal followers, and then it's also being used, as they always use everything, to try and divide the liberty movement by saying, oh, it's a hoax, oh, it's not a hoax. And I see this with the Sandy Hook thing, too. Who cares if it's a hoax or not? What matters is what they're doing with it. And it's used to divide the liberty movement. Now, I'm going to be getting into a lot of stuff here. For some reason, recently, in the past couple of days, it's like this force has been drawn upon me to just, boom, get out there. And that's why I've been uploading videos so much. And it's just like, you just got to get out there and start doing as much as possible. And, I'm still trying to plan my Operation Fall Reveal. What am I going to do for that at the same time? And so there's just, it's so much going on. But I wanted to explain that the New World Order mindset about how they use different events for different parts of the public, whether it's for their loyal followers, whether it's for the liberty movement, and how they really use every event to attack or get in line every event. And it goes as far as even the commercials. They use commercials to even trigger these emotional responses. But how do I know all this? How do I understand the mindset of the New World Order on a level that I've understood it for a long time, since I was a little kid, since I was 12 years old starting my science fiction novel? How do I understand the mindset of evil? Well, it comes with being a science fiction novelist. You have to create characters that can fit into this story you've created, and you have to be the good guys. You have to understand the good guys. When you create a good bad character, you have to step into their persona. You have to start to think, how would this person think? What type of a view would they have? What would they do in this situation? What is their ambition? What is their goal? What are they after? And you have to create this for multiple people. You have to create multiple characters with multiple timelines, multiple viewpoints, multiple understandings. And you also have to do that not only for the good guys, but for the bad guys. I got to step into the bad guy persona when I'm creating an evil character, like the one that I introduced when I went over in the Awaken show. And if you haven't seen the Awaken show, go check it out. I introduced my science fiction novel, a little bit of it. It's titled This Kentuckian Legacy. But I showcased that Count Drago character. Now, he is one of the prominent bad guys throughout the series. Now, in order to create him, I had to step into that persona. So that's how I understand how evil would think, how evil would use things, because I create the evil characters for my science fiction novel. So that's the deal. That's how it works out, and that's the true meaning of this Christopher Dorner stuff. And again, they killed him at the end because they burned the cabin down, and supposedly he's dead. And again, they did that because, like I said, with the SEAL Team 6, dead men tell no lies. They don't want the story to be skewed. They want to be able to control what people think about what happened, just like they do in a patriot resistance uprising. So it's a test. It's a test, just like Hurricane Katrina was the test for gun confiscation. This was a test for how would their loyalists react in the event that it does break down into civil unrest. And again, we're totally against that. Nobody in the liberty movement or the truth movement wants to get to that point. We are totally against the violence and victimization of people by the New World Order. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I hope everyone finds this enlightening and empowering. And as always, I want to remind everyone, stay safe, stay strong, stay free, and most importantly, stay informed.